Hey folks, Uncle Jay. I'll tell you a little tale today about a friend of mine and his encounter with Habu the Pit Viper. Now this happened in Okinawa. We were doing a training exercise. A little bit of guerrilla warfare where my team took a bunch of Marine aircraft mechanics and we're going to train them up to be guerrillas, set up a base camp in the ugliest part of the northern training area in Okinawa. I mean, I'm telling you, this is vertical, coral, just some of the most hideous terrain on earth. And we ran across a lot of fighting positions and whatnot from World War II. I cannot understand how they managed to fight there. But that's where we're going to play. And we were up against a Marine infantry company who was going to portray the military forces of the government we were seeking to overthrow. So we're out there teaching our aircraft mechanics how to patrol, how to do all the things they had to do to operate as guerrillas or insurgents. And I got a friend, Craig Lewis, was our junior engineer on the team. Now, before we left on this exercise, we were doing a waterborne infiltration. We took some Zodiac boats, rolled them up, put them on a shrimp trawler, and went from one small island, inflated the boats about 5-10 miles off the coast, drove in and linked up with our guerrillas. So before we did this infiltration, our team medic was giving us a safety briefing on all of the potential dangers and hazardous marine life, etc., that we might come across. Now, one of the animals that it's fairly worrying was a sea snake. All right, sea snakes are deadly poisonous, and George was telling us about this. Now, in order to understand this, you have to understand you couldn't understand George. All right, George had 3 things working against being able to understand a damn thing he ever said. Number 1, he's Portuguese. Number 2, he's from Boston. Actually Taunton, but who cares? The only person who cares about that is Boston Maggie. And third, he dipped Copenhagen by the half can at a time. So we've got a man giving us a safety briefing with a jaw full of Copenhagen and 2 accents working against anybody understanding what the hell he's talking about. So George is telling us that you got to worry about the sea snake while we're in the water, but not completely, because it's got these tiny little fangs, and in order to actually get you, it'd have to maybe get a flap of skin in between your fingers and then gnaw on you. And yeah, that's what he said, gnaw, G-N-O-R-R. He's trying to say gnaw, it just wasn't coming out. And so we're laughing at him, we think, ha, 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 it's very funny. Then he comes up with the second warning, which is about an animal you can encounter on Okinawa itself, which is Habu the Pit Viper. Now, Habu is a big snake. Habu's a real animal, and Habu's got real fangs. Inch long, whatever. I don't know how long they actually are, but they're big enough to cause you trouble. George tells us about that, and we're taking this with a grain of salt because we're not real concerned. So we make our waterborne infill, everything goes fine. And as we get to training with our little guerrillas, Craig and I are leading a patrol of these guys as we teach them how to maneuver, teach them how to stop, pull security, all the things you're doing. Craig's with the front of this, I think we had probably a dozen or so guys, and I'm walking trail, making sure nothing bad happens in the rear. All of a sudden, we halt. All right, everybody takes a knee, we get down our little cigar-shaped perimeter, we're doing all the stuff you do at a halt, and I'm watching and I'm trying to figure out why we're halted. Got no idea what's going on. So eventually, I hear the Marines kind of whispering among themselves, and it filters back to me, and I say, what the hell, what's going on? They say, Sergeant Lewis has a Habu. I'm like, what? Yeah, he's got a Habu Pit Viper, he's got it picked up. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. So I whooped my way up to the front of the column, and there's Craig. He's got a K-bar knife out. He's got Habu dangling over the edge of it. Habu the Pit Viper. And he's holding it right there, about a ½ inch from his fingers, and this snake is looking at him saying, I can't believe this idiot. The snake was too baffled by how dumb this was to even bite him. So I look at him and I say, Craig, drop the fucking snake. He's like, no, Jimmy, it's Habu. Remember, he got the little teeny little teeth, got a gnaw on you. You can't hurt me. I'm like, dude, that was the sea snake. This is Habu. Drop the snake. His eyes go big as dinner plates, and he did the best job of turning ghost white I've ever seen a black man do. He drops the snake. I do the bright thing and squash its head with a big rock. And then I look at him, I'm like, dude, now you got to play this off, because he's shaking as he figures out how close he came to just dying. I'm like, you got to play this off, because those Marines think you're the badass Green Beret who was not even scared to pick up Habu with a K-bar. So you got to walk back to them and tell them, no, all right, none of you Marines are allowed to do anything like that. You have to be a big dumbass Green Beret like me to pull that shit off. You do that, and we'll take the rest of this as a learning curve for you, buddy, because you almost died. Well, we went the rest of the exercise without getting anybody killed, although Our platoon of Marines did become the biggest snake slayers and probably caused an ecological disaster, because after that, they were killing everything. We became the snake platoon, and I apologize to all the Okinawan wildlife that was slayed and all the snake skins that were cured on trees, as our guys became the savage killers we were training them to become.